Okay, this is your copy. And gotta explain for your husband here, right here, okay? Easy to understand. Toilet broken, toilet fixed. There's the price. Capiche? Piece of cake.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You know, I don't know, honey. That's a lot of money. Why did it cost so much?
Well, it didn't seem so much at the time, dear. I mean, it looked like a lot of work.
A lot of work? It's just a toilet pair, for the love of it. This guy's nothing but a crook.
I'm sorry.
Hi there. So, what do you think? Is she going to be able to convince her husband that Rocky charged her a fair amount? Somehow I doubt it. It doesn't sound like she's even sure that she made the right decision herself, does it? Well, it may be true that Rocky isn't the best value around, but I think the trouble here is that he didn't do a very good job arming his customer to sell the job again after he left. You see, once you've closed the sale with the customer, that doesn't mean that the selling is over. Not by a long shot. Sure, you may have convinced the customer to accept service, and you might have done a great job. But what about the other customer? You know, the one who's going to help pay the bill, but wasn't home at the time of the service call. It could be a husband, a wife, a roommate, a parent, a guardian, you name it. Because it all means the same thing, your customer is going to have to justify the decision to accept service by explaining the work that was done. And what happens if the customer can't resell the job this second time? It's called buyer's remorse, which means bitter regret or guilt over a purchase. Now, even though your customers may not be able to easily return or exchange the products and services you provide, there are a variety of ways they can make their dissatisfaction known, the very least of which is denying you repeat business. So, how do you prevent buyer's remorse? How do you help your customers sell the job again after you've left? Well, first, find out who's going to be looking at the invoice. Be careful never to imply that the person you're dealing with is not the final decision maker, but try to discover if there is a second decision maker involved, and if there is, who is it? Perhaps your customer can reach them by phone so you can help clarify the situation while you're there. If not, at least you are beginning an exchange of information that will help educate your customer and better prepare them to resell the job in your absence. Find out what kind of questions they might have, how technical they are. What question does the customer have about your work? Does the customer feel confident that they fully understand all the work that was involved? The general idea is to provide a verbal debrief of the job.
Okay, Mrs. Simon, I've recorded all the details on the invoice, and I went ahead and tagged all your valves, just like I promised.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, I know your husband looked over this job previously, and I want to make sure that I explained everything to you clearly. We try to detail everything we do on the invoice, but is there anything additional I should be doing to make sure that he also understands the work we've done?
Oh, no, I mean, he's not terribly mechanical, but he is pretty smart. So as long as I understand what you did, it should be okay. So tell me again the name of that lever in the tank, you know, the one that goes...
The trip lever.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay, thank you.
Make sure you've armed the customer with the proper written tools for reselling the job. And by that, I mean the invoice. The best sales tool you can give a customer is a detailed and complete invoice. Taking shortcuts is not an option. Although you might think you're saving time and being more efficient by writing shorter invoices, you are actually risking future business.
So, what did this guy Rocky do anyway? I mean, all I see here is it just says he fixed it. I mean, I can't make out his handwriting. What is this? What parts did he replace that cost so much?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, he was in and out of here so fast, and there were some used parts on the floor.
Yeah?
Oh, well, gosh, Jim, I feel like an idiot. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
know.
well, next time I'll ask Marge who she uses, and I'll call him instead, okay?
Good. Yeah, we're going to have to.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Another important fact is that the invoice should accurately reflect the scope of the work that was done. In other words, if you spent hours working on a complicated and strenuous job, don't just scribble something like fixed furnace on your invoice. You're only cheating yourself, because to anyone who didn't actually witness you doing the work, it will appear that the work was quick and simple.
How long did you say he was here?
Oh, I'm not really sure. I was downstairs with the baby. I think about an hour.
Well, from the look of things, he was probably just sitting around waiting for the clock to tick. He was probably did the job in about 10 minutes, and now he's laughing all the way to the bank.
You should also realize that to the absent decision maker, the value of the job will be equal to the amount of information on the invoice. No matter how well you explain the work to the customer who approved service, the other decision maker will most likely want to see verification on the invoice. The more descriptive you are, the more information you provide, the more valuable your service will seem. And finally, let's not forget the confirmation. Remember this step from the C2000 Customer Service and Satisfaction Program? This is the thank you for choosing me you should be saying to every customer, regardless of what you sold or who purchased it. Letting customers know they made the right decision gives them confidence in their purchase and makes them feel good about having chosen you for the job. If your customer is going to resell the job to a second decision maker, one of the most important prerequisites is that they themselves believe that choosing the service was the right decision.
Mrs. McCormick, I think you made a great decision on that new air conditioning unit. You know, your old one was just too small to handle all this heat, and with this new, more efficient model, the setback thermostat, you're going to really save a bundle on your utility bills.
Thanks, Mike. I think that was a pretty smart move on my part. That way I can just set the controls and the house is nice and cool by the time my husband and I get home from work.
Exactly. You guys are going to love it.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed watching this week's program as much as I've enjoyed presenting it to you. Now that it's time for you to discuss the topic on your own and share your ideas, I'll say goodbye, but I'll be back soon to talk about another topic.